SU head coach Jim Boeheim is already known for his superior ability to recruit the nation's top players. But now armed with the Carmelo K. Anthony Basketball Center, the Orange expect to win a lot more recruiting battles. After the Orange's win over Long Beach State, senior guard Brandon Trish pointed to rebounding, an area the team has struggled in the past. He said it's the work the team does here in the Mello Center that makes all the difference. Now that winter is starting to set in here in central New York, the SU men's crew team have taken their boats off the water here at Onondaga Lake and moved to indoor workouts. Although their competition in other parts of the country aren't affected by this weather change, the Orange point to their work inside as a key to their success. Fourth-ranked SU Hoops returns to the Carrier Dome tomorrow night to take on Long Beach State. The Orange is 6-0 after topping Eastern Michigan 84-48 Monday night. And while most Orange fans are riding high with the Hoops team, SU has at least one very outspoken critic. But right now, the Orange is coming off its biggest victory of the season over previously undefeated Louisville. The win brought the Orange to 5-5, who only need one more W to become bowl eligible. But that one win won't come easily. Rutgers has filed a lawsuit against the Big East to avoid its $10 million buyout fee and 27-month waiting period before it can leave for the Big Ten. The school says that the exit fee arbitrarily applies to some, but not all.
With the fall season in the books, the Syracuse University men's rowing team has already seen success, winning the Syracuse Invitational over both Cornell and Hobart in November. But that's just the start of the work for the Orange. Coming off a huge fifth-place finish at the IRA National Championship Regatta last season, the bar has been raised for Syracuse crew, and the work to get back to that level is just beginning.
Now that winter is starting to set in here in central New York, the SU men's crew team have taken their boats off the water here at Onondaga Lake and moved to indoor workouts. Although their competition in other parts of the country aren't affected by this weather change, the Orange point to their work inside as a key to their success.
Oh, incredibly important. That's where seasons are won and lost. Like, everybody comes into the fall and they might be in shape, you might not be in shape, but once you come back for the winter training, the time you put in there is what sort of translates to speed in the spring, and so it's actually the most important time.
Extremely important. I mean, it's often said the races aren't won in the spring, they're won in the winter, and it's all about the fitness and the time you put in.
This year is the first time that freshmen have been allowed into the varsity boat. The team has now doubled in size with the added underclassmen, some of whom hope to make an impact on the top boats. Although the team has a lot of young talent, leadership from upperclassmen is essential.
I think it's crucial that the juniors and seniors show how we have been shown how to perform in the past years so they can learn from us and adapt to that.
The Orange believe this year's team can go just as far as last year's top 5 finish at the national championship, if not do even better. It's something that senior Angus Jackson attributes to their team bond and chemistry.
I think we're closer than other teams. I think we have a real bond of friendship that other teams don't get. Other teams are always competing within each other and still competing with each other, but it's as friends, it's not as enemies.
One obstacle that the Orange will be facing is their size. When matched up against some of the nation's biggest crews like Harvard, Washington, and Cal, Syracuse will have to be at their best to compete with their power.
Probably a smaller team in terms of actual size, so we have a lot of technique guys, but not a lot of power.
But while rowing is one part strength, it's also one part fitness and technique, something senior Kyle Rogers thinks puts this year's boat above the competition.
I've been here 4 years, and this is the hardest working team that I've been on out of the 4 years, and I think that that's going to pay dividends.
The quest for those dividends begins on March 30th when the Orange take on Georgetown and Princeton in New Jersey. Syracuse will have 5 races in the spring, all leading up to another shot at a top 5 finish at the national championship in June. It's a race that has this team anxious to prove it can compete with the best in the country for the second year in a row. In Syracuse, I'm Tim Killian, NCC News. Mayor Miner has been working here at City Hall on this year's proposed budget. Her proposal is due to the Common Council by April 9th, so with just 11 days to go, Axe hopes its rally here today will make a quick impact. At least 40 people were killed and 90 more were wounded. Most of the afflicted were government troops, but civilians also paid the price. But some factors that won't show up in any formula or test happen outside the walls of the Syracuse City School District. But Halloween activities in other parts of the country are being canceled due to Hurricane Sandy. For the first time in nearly 40 years, New York City's annual Village Halloween Parade has been canceled. The nursery at Ontario Orchards provides fruit and trees for sale. Even though these fruit trees aren't in season yet, business has been growing year-round thanks to the grant from New York State.
Well, I can't speak for what a single officer from a law enforcement agency has told you, but I've been working with the leadership of the gang unit at the Syracuse Police Department, and SU students are not the targets of the behaviors that have occurred. Every one of these violent incidences have involved non-student on non-student.
These violent behaviors were back again over the weekend.
There was a stabbing in the doorway of Acropolis. The week before that, there was a weapons incident, shots fired incident outside the door of Acropolis.
But Acropolis management says this isn't true.
It happened in front of Peter Pat? The one that happened in front of Peter Pat? Is that the one they might be talking about?
In response to the violence police say occurred outside the restaurant, DPS and SU Student Association President Dylan Lustig sent an email to students advising them to avoid Acropolis.
Going a little too far? Yes, it's going a little too far. I think, they're just like blowing smoke up people's, hind ends and, making it bigger than it actually is.
It's nothing against Acropolis. It's just at 2 a.m., after 2 a.m., you need to be safe.
DPS had a right to send the email as their speech is protected under the First Amendment.
They can inject all they want, but so long as the statement is true, they don't have a leg to stand on.